Hello and good afternoon, North Dakota. Hope everyone's having a great week so far, and hopefully everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. And we have so many great organizations joining us today, and we're going to wait another minute or so for more people to join. And hopefully, we're all able to use your Uber Eats and enjoy lunch while watching this. And if you didn't get to use the code yet, it should be still good to use until Friday afternoon. And let me know in the Q&A box what you ordered for lunch or what you did for Memorial Day. Let's see, someone got Chipotle. Hope someone got Subway. And Memorial Day, someone had a nice picnic and someone did some barbecue. And on Monday, I was with my family. We're based in the Bay Area, California, and I pretty much got to barbecue. Well, my dad barbecued marinated meat that I got. It was like a Wagyu beef that I got from a Korean market. And let's see, someone got to see their family members after a couple of weeks. It's always nice to have a great reunion with people. Someone got a Cobb salad, a burger. All right, and before we begin, I wanted to go over some housekeeping. At the end of this presentation, I'll be following up with an email to provide the HRCI and shroom credits. And if you have any questions today, feel free to put those questions in the Q&A box. I'll get back to you as soon as possible as these questions will be saved. And I may not be able to address them as they come up, but should be able to address them probably in the follow-up email. And if you want further information, feel free to respond to the follow-up email. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel and newsletter, and I'll have those links at the end. We're going to also send a recording of the presentation you can share with your colleagues. Today, we're going to talk about North Dakota nonprofits and unemployment. Before I get started, just wanted to do a quick intro of myself. My name is Janessa Ponko. I'm the Senior Member Development Representative here at 501c Services. I've been with the company since July 2023 and have been in business development for over 10 years. And there's a picture of people bowling. It includes me and some of our sales and marketing team members. Heidi is my manager in the middle. You might work with her in the future. And then we have Evan on the right that helps with web development and marketing. I'm really excited to be part of a team that's been helping nonprofits for over 40 years save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. We're based in San Jose, California, so we're in the heart of the Silicon Valley and dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses across the nation. Thank you again for joining to learn more about cost-effective strategies in managing unemployment in your state. We're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. We're also going to use some real life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis, and finally provide more information on our company 501c services and how many of our North Dakota nonprofits have benefited from our services. First of all, I wanted to start off with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. From 1930 to 1972, 501c3 organizations didn't pay into unemployment benefits for separate employees. Although they saved them money from paying such taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of that safety net that for-profit companies provided. Now, fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act, where nonprofits were required to pay into unemployment, but they were given different options in how they pay so that tax wouldn't be seen as an unnecessary expense for them. Unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs however they choose. So throughout the US, you'll see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts. But today we're just going to cover information in North Dakota. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. So let's say if you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. Most states, including North Dakota, run as a risk pool. So when you're paying into the state tax system, you're putting money into a tax pool to cover your claims. And we are seeing a lot of nonprofits put more money into that pool than what they're getting back. And these total tax liabilities by employers, they're often greater than the claims paid, with reserves used in times of recession. And to calculate your tax liability, you multiply your taxable wage base by your employer tax rate. And now we're going to have a little quiz. Take a guess on what a single claim can cost in North Dakota, and feel free to put some guesses in the Q&A box. So I'm seeing 11,700, 18,235, 19,000, 12,000, 1,100, 11,175. And just as a hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of the maximum number of weeks someone can claim. And in North Dakota, it's currently at 26 weeks. We have 14,000. I'm seeing 20,000, 21,000, 25,000. All right, one more guess, 16,780. So the maximum amount of what a single person can claim in unemployment in North Dakota can cost $21,190. And this, just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. So any extended benefits you saw during the recession and extra COVID payments, they were covered by the federal government. And so the maximum weekly benefit amount in North Dakota is $815. When we multiply that number by 26 is how we get that $21,190 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment. The federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of $7,000 and there's no maximum. North Dakota's taxable wage base is currently set at $46,000, which means for the first $46,000 an employee earns, your organization gets taxed on that. The minimum tax rate is at 0.07%, and then the maximum tax rate is at 9.67%, and those are both set by the state. I apologize, I have a little bit of allergies this season. And the last thing I want to note from the previous slide is the improper payment rate, which is at 7.13%. And this equates to over $14 million in overpayments to former employees who are collecting unemployment from the past 3 years. We get this information from the Department of Labor. You can see North Dakota is one of the many states that's less than 10%. Although this number may seem low, this is money that could have went back to organizations had they audited more accurately. And this is important to know as we really encourage you to look over your claims and make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501, we help organizations monitor this. And if you are managing unemployment claims on your own, you want to make sure that you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. There are three different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier with the tax rate that's set by the state and taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure or reimburse for your unemployment, where you just pay dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. Just let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications we look at for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501c3 nonprofit, and we recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more, because typically if your payroll is under $1 million, especially significantly less than that amount, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal, and you might not see much significant savings by opting out. However, there are some cases where you can see potential savings, so we're happy to look at your numbers even if you're just slightly less than a million. We also look at a positive audit from the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to look at if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you're paying in the actual cost of claims. We want to make sure that there isn't any major disruption in funding for the next 24 months. So we do recommend to stay with the state tax system if you know if you might have anything from impending layoffs, reduction in workforce, losing funds, or closing programs where tax rates can go up with experience. And then you'll probably want to wait once those claims decrease. And what it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%, and the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separate employees. No matter how your employee gets separated, they're still going to go through the same process of your unemployment department, where the state determines their benefit amount based on the base period pay. The only change is how that quarterly bill is calculated. Instead of paying that state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for charges your organization incurs. We work with over 1,500 nonprofits across the nation, and several of them are in North Dakota. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying into the state tax system. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing eliminates any concern of changes in that state tax, such as tax hikes you can't control. You become a better steward of donor dollars as you're just paying for the actual cost of your claims and putting money into the state pool. Because unemployment is managed by the federal government big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. If you're on the borderline, we can certainly talk, as sometimes there are cases where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. And if you are smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce the risks that can come with managing claims. And as we mentioned before, there are a couple different strategies for reimbursing. The first is to manage your own program, and this can be risky with the highs and lows of unemployment, and you really need to make sure you have budget for these claims and that your team is diligent with managing, auditing, protesting, and paying claims to reduce these risks and to prevent overpaying. Another option is to outsource, like using 501c services to help with the administrative work and managing the challenges that can come with unemployment claims. And then we also have a trust where you can put money aside. And the third option is to purchase insurance. At 501, we do offer insurance programs that are a little more expensive than the trust and offer different levels of protection. And I do want to talk about how the state tax is calculated. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments we've done in the past. And the taxable wage base is customized by each state. Currently in North Dakota, that taxable wage base is set at $46,000. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base, represents the first $46,000 of an employee's earnings. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. The tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. To calculate your contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by your tax rate. So for North Dakota, it's $46,000 times the range of 0.07% to 9.67%. This amount means that if each employee makes over $46,000, a company is paying in between 32.2 to $4,448.2 for a little bit over $4,000 per employee in unemployment. And if you do want to get an assessment with us, what we would need is your recent 2026 tax rate notice. And the form is called the Unemployment Insurance Tax Rate and Taxable Wage. And I believe the number is JTA43J if you wanted to look it up. With this document, we can look at your numbers to see if you have any potential savings within your organization and what would be the best option for managing your unemployment claims. And then our next two examples will show nonprofits with large overpayments, and they eventually became reimbursing employers and part of our trust. And in this first example of a human services nonprofit that we worked with, the taxable payroll was just shy of $1 million, tax rate 4.7%, estimated claims only around $200 per year. And in this case, we looked at a 3-year average of claims. So they were overpaying $45,000 a year. And think of what you can do with an additional $45,000 for your organization. And this next example, the taxable payroll is around $700,000, tax rate 3.38%, estimated annual claims $5,900, estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000. So they were overpaying around $18,000. And a little bit more about 501c services. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive. He was looking for ways to save money for his organization, so he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He created the first kind of grantor trust called the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust. It eventually became what is now known as 501c Services, and then our trust is called 501c Agencies Trust. We started at about 25 nonprofit executives in San Jose, California, and have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, the founder sold the company back to his employees, so we're now 100% employee owned, from the receptionist to the CEO. Every member is committed to our company and serving our members, and our services are valued tremendously, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. And here are a couple of testimonials our members have shared, and you can go back to these later as I'll send the slides after the presentation. And here we flipped from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago. It includes testimonials from Anika Lund and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CIFC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall of Baltimore Center Stage, and Phyllis Austin and Jason Penniger from Boys and Girls Club of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time.
501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I said earlier, we work with several North Dakota nonprofits, and this is a quick snapshot of members in the state and across the nation. And as you heard them say in the clip, we help nonprofits alleviate the administrative burdens that can come with unemployment. And the first way we help nonprofits is through claims management. Our team will help you manage, audit, and protest claims. If you ever need to protest a claim, we offer unlimited access to hearing reps, and our team has an 80% average protest win rate across the nation. And you'll have a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust. All your claims will go through this online portal where you get notified when a claim has been filed. So you'll go into the portal to respond to the questions. And if you ever go on PTO or forget to delegate these kinds of unemployment tasks, it shouldn't be an issue for a claim. For when a claim doesn't get responded to in several days, it gets escalated and handled. And a big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want to see your organization overpay or get hit by those North Dakota error rates. So we can audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying a claim when someone gets terminated. We want to make sure that you're on top of your claims and have enough support to do so. And our HR services include three components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations, and we're a small, dedicated team that can answer any of your HR related questions. So if you ever have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with the person who will support you and manage any of those questions. Our HR services have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and TRIM certified. And then we also have an online knowledge library with our HR services. And with the $815 maximum weekly benefits here in North Dakota, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. If you ever lay someone off, we have a reemployment tool that offers packages that can range from online coaching, interview techniques, and resume writing. And our reemployment services on average help former employees find a job 4 weeks faster compared to those that didn't use our tool. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them find a job faster, which in return can help your organization save more money. And the protection is the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection that helps them during catastrophic claims. And other than catastrophic claims, for managing the general highs and lows of unemployment, we have the trust account. This is a reserve account owned by your organization to help you save and pay for any potential claims. So I hope this sparked your interest, and maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you want to look into potential savings, what I would need from you is your recent 4 quarters of 941s or estimated payroll from 2024 to 2025 as a reimburser. And if you're paying into the state tax system, I would also need a copy of your 2026 tax rate notice. So a couple of questions did come up. The first one is, does it cost anything for the services? Yes, we do have our trust administrative fees. Pricing is based on your gross annual payroll. We'll include those service fees in the cost assessment. Our second question, we're already self-insured and over $1 million in payroll. Would it be worth it to join the trust or just stay self-insured for our size? And is the trust for smaller organizations? So we have members in that range in size and payroll. We have some that are less than $1 million, all the way up to over $100 million in gross annual payroll. And our services are designed to mitigate the risk of reimbursing with services like our claims management. We have a reserve to help you budget for the cost of the highs and lows of unemployment. And then we also have that stop loss protection for the catastrophic claims. And we are happy to provide you with a quote if you're interested. We would just need your recent 4 quarters of 941s. So yeah, if you want to take a look at a cost assessment and see like what might be like the best option for managing unemployment, and to also see if you want to join someone or to help outsource and use someone like 501c services. We are reimbursing already too. This is the next question. Why is unemployment allowed for employees that have stolen from the company? So without more details on this specific scenario, it's difficult to answer the question. Typically, unemployment benefits are given to former employees who lost their job through no fault of their own, like getting laid off. So if an employee has been terminated, they shouldn't be receiving unemployment benefits. They can, so the terminated employee can apply for benefits, but it's up to you as the employer to protest. And it is also possible that the former employee got another job and then lost that job through no fault of their own. And in this case, they will qualify for unemployment. And what this is a base period claim. So let's say they worked with you in the last few quarters and then they started a new job and then that new job lays them off. And if you're part of that history of the last 4 quarters, like that they were working in, you will be responsible for paying a portion of that claim. And our services are here to help you manage your claims and also protest claims if needed. We help organizations reduce their liability. And last year, we had an over 80% average protest win rate. And this is also kind of similar to the last question. Why are some claims approved when a staff resigns? And if we get without more insight into this, it is difficult to answer. So we would have to get more context. Typically, if someone leaves your organization, gets another job and is laid off, you could be responsible for a portion of their unemployment, just like that base period claim. And there's also other factors for unemployment that can allow a person to collect unemployment even if they quit. And it sometimes it doesn't seem fair, but what we can do is to help make sure that you're not overpaying for any claims and then also help you understand why some claims are approved. All right, I currently don't see any other questions, and if you are typing, I am going to stay on for another minute or so. In the next few hours, you will get a follow-up email that'll include the HRCI and shroom credits and a copy of this presentation. And if you wanted to look at more information, this is our YouTube channel and also our newsletter if you want to sign up for any future events. Let me know if you have any questions, and if you are still typing or have a question later on, feel free to respond to the follow-up email. And this is also my contact information. All right, thank you so much, North Dakota, and hope everyone has a great day.